everyone, Novels Wonderland here. Thank you all for the love and support you've shown me and the channel.
Danmachi the Multiverse Portal, Chapter 114 to 121, Chapter 114, An Unexpected Familia Duel. 1507 words. Thank you all so much for your incredible support this week. While August and Lily searched for the Eiklos Familia's hideout, the Donatus was already in full session. The gods looked around the grand hall. Hestia appeared radiant and lively, while Ishtar seemed intensely resentful. Rumors had spread overnight. Everyone in the room knew that a certain goddess of beauty had been humiliated and had her territory attacked. Ishtar didn't look hurt on the outside, but her attitude was full of spite. Are there any objections to the ruling? Ganesha addressed the room. Because a rogue assassin had pulled two familiars into a street fight, the guild gave a light penalty. It was just a small fine to cover the damages. None, Ishtar muttered, turning her head away. She forced herself to swallow her anger, having no grounds to stand on. I have no objections either, Hestia said, stepping up. She still came out ahead. She had to pay a small fine for property damage, but Ishtar was ordered to pay her for emotional damage. That money alone could buy several new houses. Ganesha nodded. With both sides accepting the penalty, the matter was settled. Loki and a few other gods were already getting excited. Loki had 3 new level 2 members in her familia, and she wanted to make sure they got good aliases before anyone else suggested something silly. Moving on to the main agenda, Ganesha announced. Which of your children reached level 2? Giving an alias to a level 2 adventurer was the main event at the Donatus. I'll go first. Hestia cheered. My child, Lilaruka Arde. She leveled up yesterday. The room fell silent. The other gods were surprised. They hadn't realized that the Hestia Familia already had 2 level 2s. Shrimp, that's pushing it, Loki frowned, pausing her own naming plans. Wasn't that girl from the Soma Familia? She leveled up that fast right after converting. It didn't add up. A Falna transfer didn't give free stats. To Loki, the Paolum hadn't fought in any big battles or done anything special. How did she reach level 2 so quickly? You just don't get it, do you? Hestia crossed her arms, tipping her chin up. My child overcame a divine trial. She enjoyed her moment of pride. Soma, look at her. She needs to be humbled, Loki grumbled. Hestia's confidence had grown a lot since she recruited August. Loki really wanted to punch her. Soma, sitting quietly in the corner, noticed the attention shift his way. Hestia is telling the truth, Soma said calmly. That child did overcome a trial. A divine trial. She had truly passed the trial he set for his familia. It was what he had hoped for. He saw her potential, but he also felt the pain of losing her. In a way, he knew he had let her go first. That's rare, Loki muttered. She didn't expect Soma to admit fault. He usually just sat in silence and brewed his wine. Anyway, I'm keeping it simple, Hestia declared. Her alias is Little Light. It was a simple name. It was the kind of name that made the other gods want to tease whoever came up with it. I think Muscle Pill sounds way better. No, Backstage Pendant fits her more. As usual, the room filled with terrible and embarrassing title suggestions. Hestia bristled. Hey, you idiots. She roared at the instigators. Don't ruin this for her. She picked a simple name to avoid this type of chaos. At least it wasn't embarrassing. With Hestia standing her ground and Soma quietly agreeing, Lily's alias was set, Little Light. It was simple, but it suited her perfectly. Now, moving on to city operations, Ganesha announced, pulling out a stack of proposals drafted by his familia. Every 3 months, the gods reviewed Orario's infrastructure and patrols. These meetings decided territory and profits. A loud male voice thundered through the room. A god with a laurel wreath and traditional Greek robes stood up. What is it? Ganesha stopped, wondering what Apollo was up to. I challenge you to a duel. Apollo ripped off his glove and threw it directly at Hestia's face. Hestia stared blankly. The rest of the council fell dead silent. Then chaos broke out. The excitement was real. Everyone knew August was incredibly strong, and nobody wanted to fight him. But Apollo had just issued a challenge. Apollo, you madman. He really did it. Are we getting a war game? The gods started shouting. All they wanted was a fight. Let them battle it out. Did you fall and crack your skull? Hestia scowled. Are you trying to steal my August? With her familia's strength, she could wipe out his whole compound before lunchtime. Who wants him? He's old, Apollo sneered, waving a hand in disgust. I want your two newest recruits. Those adorable little sisters. He wasn't after the monster rookie. He wanted Yui and Ui Hirasawa. Hestia gaped. Yui and Ui. She thought he was after Lily. But the twins? They were inexperienced and had never even entered the dungeon. To the other gods, they were just there for show. Was he crazy? But Hestia knew not to underestimate Apollo. He was clever. Apollo, those girls are outsiders. The guild recognizes them as novices. They haven't even registered a dungeon dive yet. Under the Rookie Protection Pact, you can't just snatch them. The gods had agreed not to steal new recruits before they had a chance to grow. But that protection is voided if a formal war game or a faction duel is declared, Apollo grinned. He was twisting the rules to get what he wanted. The idea of taking the twins thrilled him. Hestia groaned. Dealing with his obsession was a huge headache. Therefore, I challenge you to a proxy duel, Apollo declared loudly. A clash strictly limited to swords and magic. The room let out a collective groan of disappointment. Cheapskate. Yeah, I thought we were getting a full-scale siege. Swords and magic. That's it. It was just a regular melee fight. They had hoped Apollo would take on August's modern weapons, leading to a huge battle. That would have been a show. Instead, Apollo set things up to suit himself. Are you kidding me? Hestia snapped. Why would I take a rigged fight? Apollo was trying to put her at a disadvantage. Swords and magic. August didn't use a sword or practice normal magic. No guns meant fighting on Apollo's terms. She wanted to leap across the table and punch him. My familia only has 2 people who can even cast, and nobody uses a sword. There's nothing in this for me. Are you scared, Hestia? Ishtar chimed in. She still wanted payback after being embarrassed in the pleasure quarter. This was her chance to make things worse for Hestia. Your boy already has the reputation of a monster rookie. If he backs down from a simple duel, how will he ever show his face in this city? Ishtar pushed her closer to the fire. Hestia clenched her teeth. Ishtar was clearly siding with Apollo just to stir things up. Hestia ignored her and turned back to Apollo. And if I win? What's the payout? She wasn't opposed to the fight. She folded her arms, determined not to let him attempt to take her children without risking something himself. The other gods nodded in agreement. A duel needed a proper wager. Name your price, Apollo said easily. If I win, I take the sisters. Hestia was surprised he gave her a blank check. Of course, swords and magic is just the theme, Apollo continued, addressing the room to build momentum. I want to see a grand spectacle. I invite all of you to participate and see what kind of entertainment we can forge under these rules. We need to make this a true event. He wasn't about to let his reputation suffer by fighting a small, private battle. He wanted a big win. But the main rule stayed, only blades and spells. The gods murmured their approval. Apollo might be a schemer, but he knew how to throw a party. He covered up his unfair duel by making it a citywide festival. Hestia watched as Apollo played the crowd. He was clever and had trapped her. But then she remembered August's magic abilities and his tactical skills. Even without guns, they still had options. It's a deal. I accept the duel. Hestia knew she couldn't back out without seeming weak. Besides, getting to name her own reward if she won was too good to refuse. The Donatus cheered. The game was on. New weekly event, bulk upload of 5 chapters if we hit 1,000 Power Stones this week. Every 200 Power Stones equals bonus chapter. 25 advanced chapters available on Patreon, https://p-atreon.com/dragons. Just remove the hyphen to access Patreon normally. Chapter 115, Chapter 115, You Don't Deserve an Explanation. 1870 words. Thank you all so much for your incredible support this week. New week, let's push. While the Donatus convened on the surface, another hunt had already started on the dungeon's 18th floor. Found it. Lord August, it's right here. I smell people. Lily used her transformation magic to pick up the faint scent left in the air. The eastern part of the 18th floor ended in a dead end. Adventurers almost never came this far. The smell of people covering up the usual monster odor meant someone was hiding here on purpose. Good job, Lily. The beastman nose comes in handy. August looked around the cavern. It was huge, even bigger than Aurario's central plaza. Blasting the walls at random to find a hidden door would only stir up the monsters. Thanks to Lily's tracking, he didn't have to deal with that. Following the scent to a blank rock face, August raised his weapon. Opening fire. He swept the sector Lily pointed out with a burst of gunfire. The bullets chewed through the stone until the acoustic feedback shifted. He lowered his gun. The rock face here was a facade. With a snap, August brought forth a kinetic pilebunker from his spatial void. He fired the anchor straight into the rock. The fake wall shattered, collapsing into a hidden tunnel. This is it. Waiting for them at the end of the tunnel was a heavy, reinforced metal door. An orichalcum door. Lily's eyes widened. She wasn't a blacksmith, but she knew how much things were worth. Orichalcum was a rare, super strong metal. It could resist magic and hold powerful enchantments. Making a whole vault door out of it was a crazy show of wealth. Lord August, let's tear it down, Lily urged, her capitalist instincts kicking in. Scrapping this would make us a fortune. A big chunk of pure orichalcum would sell for millions in Aurario, and might even start a bidding war among defense companies on Earth. They needed to take it. August didn't hesitate. If it had value, they were taking it. He reached into his inventory and pulled out a huge, shoulder-mounted cylinder. It was a special tool made to break open military-grade bank vaults. Now it was time to see if this fantasy supermetal could stand up to a modern kinetic penetrator. The heavy machine started up, its deep, steady beat filling the tunnel as the kinetic charge built up. Let's see what breaks first, your magic door, or my tungsten drill. He pulled the trigger. The impact was resounding. Sparks showered the tunnel as the high-velocity industrial drill bit ground into the enchanted metal. The orichalcum held its ground, but the surrounding stone walls engineered by Daedalus himself began to spiderweb and crack under the concussive force. The metal door shrieked as hairline fractures spread across its surface. Fantasy metals were tough, but the focused power of industrial machines was slowly wearing them down. At the same time, on the other side of the vault, the Ichlos Familia had gathered in their staging area. Dix Perdix clutched his cursed eye, stumbling forward. The tainted blood of Daedalus flowing through his veins screamed in agony. It was a biological alarm. The dungeon door was failing. Dix, what's wrong? Gran, his second-in-command, noticed his captain writhing in pain. We have a breach, Dix hissed, panic bleeding into his voice. Something is tearing through the gate. The orichalcum door, reinforced by generations of the Deadless family's cursed magic, let out a metallic creak. And then, it gave way. "We're through," Lily cheered. The massive slab of orichalcum buckled and crashed backward, kicking up a cloud of dust. 15 minutes, August muttered, checking his chronometer. He was honestly impressed. It took 15 minutes for a powerful breaching drill to break through the metal. Orichalcum lived up to the hype. Severed from its magical power source, the door was now just a very expensive pile of scrap metal. Salvaging. August made sure not to leave anything behind. He swept his hand over the wreckage, pulling the huge door and every broken piece into his spatial void. He cleared the floor completely. "Let's move." Lily nodded and followed him into the dark hallway. The man-made maze of Gnosis stretched out ahead of them. "I smell them," Lily whispered, her nose twitching as she caught the draft. "The Ichlos familia is definitely holed up in here." She took another deep breath, trying to isolate the numbers, but suddenly recoiled, coughing violently. Ugh, she covered her nose, stumbling backward. "I lost the trail." They sprayed a chemical masking agent down the hall. It's designed to blind a beastman's olfactory senses. August caught her by the shoulder, keeping her upright. Gnosis was filled with traps meant to block familias from tracking. It was a common trick used by the Evolus. He didn't care about their traps. His goal was evident: find the Ichlos familia and wipe them out. He hadn't broken into this underground base to play detective. He was here to take them down. August kept his rifle raised, guiding Lily through the winding corridors until the narrow tunnel opened up into a massive staging area. This place was a hub for smuggling monsters to the surface. It also served as the main base for the Ichlos familia. And standing right in the middle of the cavern was the entire roster of the Ichlos familia. "Yo," August called out casually, stepping into the light. "Nice to finally meet you." "The monster rookie." Dix Perdix kept a hand over his cursed eye, staring at August in disbelief. How did he get past the lock? The main route back to the 17th floor was sealed off. Dix's contacts in Rivera had warned him that August was on the 18th floor, so he had pulled his men back to regroup. He never thought August would actually break through the vault. "How did you get in here?" Gran demanded, his eyes darting between August and the Paolum supporter. "The gate was locked. I kicked it down," August answered flatly. He reached into his inventory and tossed a shattered chunk of the orichalcum door onto the stone floor. It clattered loudly, echoing through the cavern. "Took a bit more effort than I expected." He broke the orichalcum. "What kind of monster is this guy?" "That gate was custom forged. It's supposed to be indestructible." Panic spread through the Ichlos group. Realizing that a single rookie had turned their unbreakable vault door into scrap metal scared them badly. "All right, Ichlos familia." August racked the charging handle of his rifle. "Time to pay the toll with your lives." He hadn't come here to talk. With all of them gathered in one place, it was time to finish the job. "Are you out of your damn mind?" one of the thugs yelled, stepping back. "You massacre another familia, the guild will banish you from Ora Rio forever." August's reputation was well known. Everyone knew his fighting style was a relentless meat grinder. At first, the Dark faction had dismissed him as just another overhyped rookie. But after he single-handedly destroyed the assassin camp the previous night, and wiped out the killers they had hired for 10 million valis, their confidence vanished. Being trapped in a room with him made them nervous. None of them wanted to fight him directly. The thugs hoped guild law would protect them. Adventurers weren't supposed to kill each other. Without proof that the Ichlos familia ordered the attack, August had no legal reason to execute them. Even if they were caught smuggling monsters, the usual punishment was just a fine, not death. "Shut your mouth," Dix barked, glaring at his panicked subordinate. "Guild exile." That didn't matter to someone with an interdimensional portal. It would only set him free. August, I know exactly what you are. Dix stepped forward, playing his trump card. You aren't from Rio. You're an anomaly. A traveler from another world. Dix had asked his patron god, Iklos, why the gods were so interested in the monster rookie. Iklos told him the truth. August was a real outsider, a mortal who could travel between worlds. The gods were fascinated by someone who didn't fit their world's rules. That truth had shocked Dix. There's no reason for us to spill blood today, Dix lied smoothly. Whatever happened to you on the surface, my familia had nothing to do with it. Because August was mortal, he lacked divine lie detection. Dix shamelessly played the victim, pushing the blame onto the assassin brokers. The other Iklos thugs whispered in confusion, surprised to learn the rookie was from another world. Dix was desperate to talk his way out of this trap. If he couldn't, they were all dead. But August didn't care about his excuses. Are you done babbling? He cut the villain's monologue short, and pulled the trigger dash, BOOM. A high-caliber round tore across the cavern, ripping straight through the pelvis of a scruffy, middle-aged smuggler standing near Dix. The smuggler collapsed, shrieking in agony as blood gushed from his ruined groin. The bullet had pulverized his crotch. The rest of the familia recoiled in horror. He just fired without warning. Are you deaf? Dix yelled, his hands trembling. You aren't from this world. If you broke in here to save the talking monsters, fine, I get it. But you can't slaughter us over property. Everything we do operates in the gray areas of Orario's laws. Dix tried to use words to buy time. He thought he could convince the rookie to back off. He was completely wrong. August didn't hesitate. He was here to exterminate them. Dix couldn't match the man in front of him with the rumors he'd heard. People said the monster rookie was a kind saint, a miracle healer who could fix severed limbs. Bards sang about him in taverns. But the man with the rifle didn't give a damn about mercy or due process. He wasn't a saint. He was an executioner. August let out a cold, sharp laugh. He raised his weapon array. Scum like you don't get a trial. He opened fire. A relentless barrage of high-caliber rounds and tactical ordnance flooded the cavern, leaving 0 blind spots. It was a localized meat grinder designed to wipe them off the map. Dix screamed. Knowing August intended to kill them all, the captain abandoned his men and bolted toward an escape tunnel. Uninjured and fueled by adrenaline, Dix moved fast. But the lower-level thugs left behind as meat shields weren't so lucky. Before they could even turn to run, the gunfire hit them hard. Bullets ripped through their cheap armor, cut into flesh, and broke bones. Fast-moving rounds bounced around, causing serious injuries. The smugglers wailed, collapsing into the dirt. The only answer they got was the deafening sound of gunfire, tearing them apart on the cavern floor. Bulk upload of 6 chapters, if we hit 1100 power stones this week. Every 200 power stones equals bonus chapter. 25 advanced chapters available on Patreon. https://p-atreon.com/dragons, just remove the hyphen to access Patreon normally. Chapter 116, Chapter 116, Bonus 1501 words. Thank you all so much for your incredible support this week. New week, let's push. Damn it. Dix Perdix sprinted down the dark corridor with Gran, his last remaining subordinate, close behind. That rookie is a psycho, Dix hissed, grinding his teeth. It finally made sense. Iklos had been strangely quiet for days, watching the familia members as if they were already dead. Iklos must have known this was coming. Dix hadn't understood before. How could August kill him without staining the spotless reputation he had worked so hard to build? Dix, what do we do? Gran gasped. He always looked up to Dix and did whatever he said, but this was a nightmare. We keep running. We can't take him head on. Even as a level 4, Dix knew he'd be reduced to a bloody sieve. August's weapons defied logic. Compared to that level of precision firepower, his cursed spear was nothing more than a useless piece of metal. But he's only a level 2. Gran protested. He thought they still had a fighting chance. You idiot. Dix roared. The guy is a cold-blooded butcher. You think he's just going to let us walk away? He isn't a normal level 2. Thinking August was just a regular adventurer was a death sentence. Dix wanted to survive. He still wanted to play his twisted games. He'd faced Evolus and cultists before, but August was different. August was a real lunatic. He didn't talk or bargain. He just started shooting. What kind of crazy world made someone like that? Back in the staging area, the ground looked like a slaughterhouse. Lily didn't even flinch. She put on gloves, walked through the carnage, and started searching the bodies. Most adventurers kept their money, weapons, and gear with them. She wasn't going to leave anything valuable behind. Every Valis helped the Familia. Lord August, Lily called out, glancing toward the heavy iron cages. Inside sat the Xenos, battered and bleeding. I know you can speak, August said. The monsters, previously silent, froze. Stay put, August ordered. He looked over the cages. These were deep-floor variants much more dangerous than the hellhounds on the upper levels. If you walk out there looking like that, adventurers will skin you alive. Sit tight. Once I finish my business, I'll find your people and get you out of here. The caged monsters shared hesitant glances. August lifted his hand and summoned several thick wires. He went down the line, picking the heavy iron padlocks with proficient skill. A humanoid monster covered in vibrant green feathers stepped out of her cage, staring at him. You're letting us go? A siren, Lily noted, recognizing the species. They only spawned past the 20th floor. I have no interest in you, August said flatly. As long as you don't do anything stupid and pick a fight with me, we won't have a problem. He looked at the siren. She was exhausted, worn out by whatever the Eiklos Familia had done to her. You're Xenos, not normal monsters, Lily added, stepping up. We know you have your own faction down in the deep floors. You're always looking for stragglers to join your ranks. The Hestia Familia has no reason to make enemies out of you. Lily knew the Xenos were becoming a real force. Their existence was somehow connected to human souls, or maybe even darker things involving fallen spirits and gods. She wanted nothing to do with that kind of trouble. August pulled rations and high-grade potions from his inventory, dropping them on the floor. Take these. Patch yourselves up. You were born from the dungeon, but your biology should process them just fine. Without saying anything else, August headed down the tunnel where Dix had escaped. Before he left, he picked up a few severed heads from the Eiklos thugs. He needed proof for the bounties. Lily jogged after him. Left behind in the blood-soaked cavern, the monsters didn't know how to react. Some growled in frustration. Humans had tortured and broken them beyond recognition. Their hatred for humanity burned deep within their hearts. Yet the one who had just saved them was human. The siren moved first. She dragged her battered body forward and reached the supplies. She had seen the smugglers use them before. She opened a potion and poured it over her wounds. Her torn flesh started to heal. Then she grabbed a ration bar and took a bite. Why are you eating human food? Another Xenos asked, staring at her in shock. Because it keeps us alive, the siren replied calmly. And because we have nowhere else to go. If we leave now, the surface adventurers won't kill us, the normal monsters will. Did she trust August? She had suffered too much because of humans. But he was right. Staying here was their best chance to survive. If they listened, maybe the others would find them. Slowly, the other Xenos stepped out of their cages. They gathered around the supplies. Those who couldn't open the potions got help from the others. They huddled together, sharing food and tending to their wounds. They sat in the quiet cavern, waiting for the human to return. August and Lily tracked Dix deeper into the dungeon. The captain led them through special corridors that avoided the main surface routes. There are too many branching paths here, Lily noted, checking her surroundings. If this keeps going, we'll hit the upper levels. How far did Daedalus dig? Knossos was huge. It almost matched Orario's size, stretching endlessly under the city. The corridors twisted everywhere, and Dix was leading them in circles. He's trying to make me dizzy, August chuckled. He had to give Dix credit for trying, but the captain made one big mistake, Lily. She was an elite Paolum supporter. Tracking, navigation, and trickery were her specialties. Before Dix even started running, she'd tagged him with a scent tracking item. She followed his invisible trail without any trouble. Where is he taking us, Lord August? Lily asked. They were moving steadily back toward the Daedalus Street sector, yet Dix showed no signs of actually leaving the maze. He's dragging us into Evolus territory. August checked his weapon. This dungeon isn't just an Eiklos hideout. The remnants of the dark faction are dug in down here. He wants to use them to ambush us. Knossos stretched across the hole underground. No one knew what horrors were hidden in its depths. Don't forget, the Ishtar familia's Gugalana is stashed somewhere in these tunnels. If we blunder into it, things could get ugly. I forgot about that, Lily said with a grimace. This whole place is a stronghold for the worst scum in the city. She understood what Dix was doing. He didn't care who killed them, whether it was the Gugalana, the Evolus, or his own traps. He just wanted them dead. Lord August, if we let him keep running, aren't we just walking into a trap? Lily asked. Shouldn't we just finish him now? Besides, if we secure this dungeon, we could use it as a secret base. August dismissed the idea immediately. We aren't keeping this place. It's too massive to guard, and it's physically connected to the dungeon. Holding onto a piece of real estate like this is a massive liability. He didn't care about owning the place. We left a pile of bodies back there. The guild will find out. But if we take out Dix in the Dark Faction's territory, the guild will label the Eiklos Familia as Evolus. We won't face a single penalty. August made it clear. He didn't see the Eiklos members as people. To him, they were just targets. I see, Lily said quietly, realizing her mistake. She'd been blinded by the idea of making a profit from a secret dungeon. I got greedy. A small reward isn't worth all that trouble. Let's go. Sounds like they stopped, August said. Right behind you. Up ahead, Dix Perdix and Gran finally halted. They weren't tired but they were furious. He's still right behind us, Gran panicked. We can't shake him. Dix could sense August following them, keeping up and staying just out of sight. Does he know the layout? Impossible. He's an outsider. There's no way he knows the secrets of Daedalus. Dix couldn't believe someone was moving through his stronghold so easily. How the hell were they being tracked? He'd sacrificed his whole familia to buy time, and this rookie was still right behind him. Dix let out a ragged, angry scream. He was a level 4 adventurer, now running like a stray dog from a level 2. I'm going to kill him. I swear I'm going to kill him. Bulk upload of 6 chapters, if we hit 1100 power stones this week. Every 200 power stones equals bonus chapter. 25 advanced chapters available on Patreon. https://p-atreon.com/dragons, just remove the hyphen to access Patreon normally. Chapter 117, Chapter 117, Who told you I was a good person? 1691 words. Thank you all so much for your incredible support this week. Dix Perdix sprinted through the tunnels, desperate to reach the Dark Faction's hidden safe house. A voice rang out in his ear. If you're planning to drag the Hestia Familia back here, do us a favor and die. Dix stopped in his tracks. His older brother, Barca Perdix, was on the line. Barca hardly ever contacted him, too busy with his obsession over building the Knossos. What are you? I heard the screams of our family's masterpiece, Barca interrupted. His masterpiece was being destroyed. Most adventurers who found the hidden tunnels wanted to claim them for themselves. August was different. The monster rookie from Hestia Familia just raised his blade and wiped out their creation. The violence was so intense that it set off alarms throughout the labyrinth. That was how Dix knew August was on his way. The destruction was too obvious to miss. That psycho! Dix hissed, his eyes frantic. The Hestia Familia captain just sliced the blast doors wide open. Doesn't he want to claim this place? Is our legacy really worth zero valis to him? Where are you? I'm coming to your position. Dix needed a safe zone. Don't bother. Barca's voice was ice. The other faction members know August is inside. They've already rallied. Barca had gotten the information hours earlier. The Dark Faction's agents in Rivera had already called for everyone to evacuate. No one wanted to wait around and see if the madman would destroy the whole floor with heavy weapons. Dix had started this, so Dix would have to deal with the consequences. To protect the Deadless family's 1,000-year obsession, someone had to pay the price. This time, it would be the younger brother. Dix, I have two choices. 1. I protect the labyrinth and stop that lunatic from turning it to ash. 2. I abandon the labyrinth and save you. A binary choice. Dix listened. The frantic panic in his eyes faded, replaced by a much darker look. What kind of choice is that? An old grudge stirred deep within him. He had to protect the labyrinth. It was the Deadless family's greatest legacy, built over 1,000 years with blood and stolen riches. They could not let it fall. Ha 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 ha. Dix burst out laughing, almost crazed. He gripped his cursed spear even tighter. Gran, his loyal follower, stared at him. He couldn't see what was so funny about calling his brother. Let's go, Gran. Time to meet our guest. Dix turned around. Instead of going deeper into the Knossos, he walked toward the exit. Destination, Deadless Street. Following his trail, Lily noticed the tracker signal shift. Lord August. He changed direction. She checked her device. Dix wasn't going deeper into the hidden tunnels anymore. He was heading up, toward the surface, aiming for the exit to Deadless Street. Let's move. August had planned to follow him and find the hideout. But if Dix was heading to the surface, he must have decided to give up. August hoisted Lily onto his back and sprinted after the signal. He's making a last stand. August saw what was happening. Someone had warned Dix, abandoned him, and left him to face the danger alone. Interesting, Deadless Street, late afternoon. The sun was setting in the west, casting long, red shadows over the slums. I'm back. Dix stepped out into the open air. This was his ancestors' territory. This was his home. He took a deep breath, savoring the familiar scent of Rio. He stood in the middle of the street, holding his red spear. He opened his arms, taking in the feeling of the place. The people passing by hardly reacted. They knew him as Dix the Hazer, a well-known local thug. They just glanced at him and kept moving. Then, another voice cut through the noise. Enjoying the view, are we? Dead men always get sentimental right at the end. Footsteps came from behind, slow and deliberate, full of mockery. Dix turned. The monster rookie. Two figures stood in the street, the rookie and his pal supporter. The tension between them was heavy. The threat in the air was so strong that people nearby stopped in their tracks, unable to move. Drop dead. Dix stopped holding back. He grabbed his cursed spear and charged at August. He knew he wouldn't survive, but he was determined to ruin August's reputation before he died. Seeing his boss charge, Gran drew his broadsword and rushed in. The sudden outbreak of violence made the slum residents run away in fear. Dix closed the distance, thrusting his spear forward. A shadow blurred past August's shoulder. Something slammed into the spear's path. Dix blinked. He hadn't hit August. He had impaled a corpse. It was a fresh corpse, still warm, blood running down the spear. A thick iron chain was wrapped tightly around its neck, used to throw the body forward like a leash. Gran skidded to a halt, his eyes wide with horror. He recognized the face. It was one of their own, an Iclos Familia member who had just fled the labyrinth, abandoning them to die. The corpse's eyes bulged in frozen disbelief, staring blankly at the sky. The chain snapped taut. August yanked the body off the spear and let it crumple to the dirt. "You sick bastard." Dix realized the man standing in front of him wasn't an adventurer. He was a psychopath. Dix planned to fight him in the open, die a public death, and ruin the heroic rookie's image. Instead, August had used a dead Iclos member as a human shield. To everyone watching, it was a shocking and disrespectful act. August didn't care about being a hero. In the dungeon, he killed without mercy, and out here in the open, he was no different. He refused to pretend to be someone he wasn't. Well, well. Look who it is. If it isn't the great Dix. Staying real calm for a guy staring at his own dead crew. Lily's voice boomed over the street. She spoke through the drones floating above the street. The loudspeakers made her mocking words echo off the brick walls. "I actually feel bad for them. Imagine murdering your own familia just to cover your tracks." The people stopped running and turned back, shocked. They couldn't understand what was happening. August smiled. "I'm sure the rest of your friends are dying to see you." He snapped his fingers. Dozens of iron chains fell from above. Dangling from the links were the severed heads of the Iclos Familia. The crowd screamed. Children wailed. People scrambled over each other to get away from the massacre. It was a nightmare. Adventurers weren't supposed to act like this. The guild had rules, but this was just chaos and killing. Even Gran, a hardened killer, dropped his sword. His hands shook as he stared at the decapitated heads of his friends. "What the hell is wrong with you?" Dix snarled. "Do you even know what you're doing? Don't you give a damn about your reputation?" Dix couldn't understand it. Why wasn't August acting like he was supposed to? As a member of the Hestia Familia, he should have been a symbol of justice, someone who wanted to be a hero like Findame. Why did the darkness in him feel deeper than any villain? August's voice rang out, broadcasted across the slums. "Why would I care about my reputation?" He spread his arms. "If you bothered to pull my file, you'd know I don't give a damn what the city thinks of me. I slaughter monsters without batting an eye. Does that look like the work of a saint?" August wagged a finger, clicking his tongue. "Or maybe you're confused because I fund treatments for crippled orphans. Because I throw Valis around to buy them new limbs. Did you think I was doing that to farm good karma? To build a brand? Evil to the bone. Righteous to a fault." The fleeing pedestrians heard him. The hidden gods heard him. The Loki Familia executives, who had rushed to the scene, heard every word. August had only been in Rio for a few weeks. People saw him in two ways, as a miracle healer who saved injured children, and as a ruthless killer who wiped out monsters with heavy weapons. Rio did not know what to make of him. When he said he didn't care about fame, it shocked everyone. What is this guy talking about?" Bet Loga scowled from a nearby rooftop. "Who didn't care about fame? Should we stop him?" Ace Wallenstein glanced at Finn. The situation was spiraling into a bloodbath. As a leading familia, intervening was their job. It won't do any good. Finn bit his thumb. He knew that getting involved would only bring trouble to the Loki familia. The monster rookie thought in a way Finn couldn't even start to understand. Down in the street, Dix stood paralyzed. He heard the confession firsthand. He couldn't grasp it. Did this man have zero moral compass? August read the confusion on Dix's face. You think I'm crazy? August chuckled, waving his hand dismissively. I don't care about my reputation. And who told you I was a good person? He refused every label the city tried to give him. He didn't want glory, didn't believe in fake kindness, and didn't care about being a hero. To the onlookers, he sounded like a monster. The crowd whispered in fear. They didn't understand him, but they knew he wasn't there to save them. I don't care about fame, and I'm not a good man. August paused. His gaze bored into Dix Perdix, the captain of the Eiklos Familia. The heir to Daedalus. A representative of this twisted city. I love humanity. Bulk upload of 6 chapters, if we hit 1100 Power Stones this week. Every 200 Power Stones equals bonus chapter. 20 advanced chapters available on Patreon. https://p-atreon.com/dragons, just remove the hyphen to access Patreon normally. Chapter 118. Chapter 118. Let the world listen to the voice of humanity. 1629 words. Thank you all so much for your incredible support this week. August explained his ideals, all based on his deep love for humanity. People nearby, adventurers, demi-humans, and elves, stopped in their tracks. What did he mean? He had just said he wasn't a good person, but now he claimed to love humanity. The contradiction was strange and confusing. What the hell are you saying? Dix Perdix was completely confused. August denied being a saint, admitted he could be cruel, and still claimed he acted out of love for people. None of it made sense to him. My heart is clear, and so are my actions. Everything I do is justice. August spread his arms and spoke loudly so everyone in the crowded street could hear him. I save my fellow humans from suffering. I do it without a single shred of guilt. The crowd watched in shocked silence. They thought August would give up on morality, but instead, he stuck to his own version of it. He didn't care about looking good, or what others thought. He just followed his beliefs, convinced he was doing the right thing. Justice was an old idea. Many familias had stood for it before, but now August used it in a much harsher way. What a grand ideal. The crowd saw that, even though August was ruthless, his morals were solid. He wasn't pretending to be someone else for attention. He simply acted on what he believed and kept moving forward. A god, Ace Wallenstein murmured, tilting her head. She didn't really understand why August acted in such a contradictory way, but something about him felt familiar. It reminded her of how the gods cared for the people of the lower world. Selfless love, without any human desire, Riveriel Joe's Alf said softly. That's what a god wants. She realized August was thinking like a deity. The gods listening in on the streets heard every word. How can a kid be this amazing? Loki's face showed her jealousy. She pulled at Hestia's clothes, upset. It didn't seem fair that someone like August wasn't in her familia. August showed the same ideals the kind gods always talked about, loving the people of the world without conditions. As a member of the Hestia familia, his words matched Hestia's role as the goddess of the hearth, who protects the home. What he said would make her even more respected all over Orario. It wasn't just Loki. Even friendly gods like Takamikazuchi, Hephaestus, and Artemis were jealous. August was a mortal who lived by divine ideals and didn't care about criticism. The gods all wanted him in their own familia. But for now he belonged to Hestia, and that frustrated them. Hestia was practically floating. She always knew August was special, but his strong beliefs amazed her. If other gods weren't around, she would have laughed out loud. Across town, atop the Tower of Babel. What is this? His soul. Why is it acting like this? With her ability to see souls, Freya finally saw what was at the center of August. His soul was no longer ordinary. After his speech, it shone with a strong, bright light that turned into a burning red. The first time she saw him, his soul looked plain. The second time, it was filled with a strong, almost overwhelming love. But now it burned like a fire. Freya clutched at her eyes and collapsed. Lady Freya. Otter rushed forward, alarmed by her cry of pain. Stay back, Freya gasped, holding out her hand. She felt her own power burning inside her. It was the brightest, most intense soul she had ever seen. Otter stopped in his tracks. He had never seen his goddess so shaken. Back on Daedalus Street, Rio Lion stood motionless. She cared deeply about justice. August's confidence in people, his strong love, and his harsh way of carrying out his own justice made a strong impression on her. My heart is clear, and so are my actions. Everything I do is justice. Is this your justice? Ryu whispered. For the first time, her confusion faded. She understood how he thought. Maybe you're not such a bad person after all. The entire city's attention focused on Daedalus Street. You bastard. Dix Perdix felt jealous. He used to think August was just a killer. Now he saw someone with strong determination. August didn't like killing, he did only what he thought was necessary. He didn't care about his reputation or his mistakes. He just did what he believed was right. I despise self-righteous pricks like you. Dix roared. He pushed off the ground, charging at August with everything he had. He thrust the cursed spear straight at August's chest. You're right. I am a self-righteous prick. August matched his volume. So let the world listen to the proud voice of humanity. August swiped his hand. The severed heads hanging from the chains vanished. In their place, a massive array of artillery materialized from the spatial void. Countless barrels locked onto the target. Dix's eyes widened as the cannons took aim. The shells flew through the air. Just like August said, he didn't talk about big ideas. He let the strongest weapons speak for him. Dix tried to dodge, but at point-blank range, evasion was impossible. The shells hit with overwhelming kinetic force, tearing through him before he could even react. The heavy munitions didn't detonate on impact. They punched straight through his torso and exploded only after striking the ground behind him. The pedestrians scrambled backward in terror. Riveriel Joe's Alf quickly deployed a magic barrier to shield the onlookers from the shrapnel and shockwaves. The smoke cleared. Dix Perdix was gone. Only a crater and his broken red cursed spear were left. A cold wind swept through the street. The crowd stood in complete silence. A level for adventurer had been destroyed in an instant. It was as if he had been brushed aside without effort. Gran forced himself up. He was still breathing. August had focused all his firepower solely on Dix. You killed Dix. Gran grabbed his broadsword. I'll kill you. He charged, desperate to avenge his boss. Commendable. August watched Gran charge forward. Gran didn't hesitate, even with all the guns pointed at him. He just lifted his sword and ran. August respected his courage. Even if it was misguided, this kind of stubborn willpower was what August admired most. Since you have the guts, August raised a hand, I won't let you die easily. The cannons vanished. Heavy iron chains shot out of the spatial void. Steel bear traps clamped shut around Gran's ankles and wrists, locking his limbs in place and dragging him to a halt. What are you doing? Gran struggled against the iron. He expected to be blown to pieces. Being captured alive filled him with a creeping dread. August stared him down. Your bloodline is a rotten, evil plague. I'm going to exterminate it. He spoke in a strangely calm voice. He wasn't questioning Gran. He was declaring that he would wipe out an entire bloodline. The deadless bloodline needs to be erased. I'm going to sweep your twisted family tree into the garbage bin of history. Gran's blood ran cold. He thought August wanted secrets about the labyrinth. Instead, he was declaring a literal extermination campaign. You'll tell me everything. August drew a combat knife and drove it straight into Gran's leg. Gran shrieked in agony. August didn't hesitate. For the first time, Gran felt the same torture he and his group had used on the Xenos monsters. Now he was the one screaming. You're not dying today. August channeled a healing fire, mending the torn flesh. The second the wound closed, he dragged the blade across Gran's femoral artery. Ace Wallenstein stepped in. She couldn't watch a human being tortured in the middle of the street. She didn't fully understand the politics at play, but she knew this was wrong. Drawing her rapier, she slashed through the iron chains. Gran fell to the ground, shaking and crying out. The quick cycle of pain and healing was too much for his body. His mind couldn't handle it. Why bother? August didn't look angry. He was harsh with people he thought were evil, but he respected good people like Ace. He treated good people kindly, and was much harsher with those he saw as monsters. The Loki Familia executives watched closely. They expected August to snap. Ace herself braced for a furious reprimand. Instead, his calm, disappointed sigh hit harder than any shouted rebuke. It made her feel painfully naive. Unable to find a response, she glanced back at her familia for help. Betloga, Tiona, and Tioni quickly looked away. They were fighters, not talkers. Trying to argue with someone who remained so calm and composed, even while carrying out something so ruthless, was beyond them. If they kept arguing, they might even find themselves agreeing with him. Findame tightened his grip on his spear and stepped forward. He had to handle this. August, captain of the Hestia Familia. We haven't formally met. I am Findame, captain of the Loki Familia. Finn chose his words carefully. We aren't here to stop you. However, certain things shouldn't be done in the middle of a public street. There are children watching. He glanced at the blood-stained cobblestones. I also have to ask, what exactly did the Eiklos Familia do to warrant this? Bulk upload of 6 chapters, if we hit 1100 Power Stones this week. Every 200 Power Stones equals bonus chapter. 20 advanced chapters available on Patreon, https://p-atreon.com/dragons, just remove the hyphen to access Patreon normally. Chapter 119, bonus. 2028 words. Thank you all so much for your incredible support this week. August looked at Findame, the captain of the Loki Familia, who was casually pretending this was their first meeting. You had to give him credit, he really knew how to handle things. The Loki Familia was huge, and most of their members had no clue that August had ever met their leaders. It's simple, August said calmly. Smuggling monsters to sell to foreign nobles, and conspiring with the remnants of the Evolus to unleash dungeon monsters onto the surface to wipe out the population. Smuggling monsters. Helping the Evolus. Acts of mass terrorism. That kind of accusation. Finn's expression tightened, and he fell silent. This was something only the Adventurers Guild and the Ganesha Familia could handle. Releasing monsters from the dungeon was a serious taboo. Even the creatures used for Ganesha's arena events were kept under tight security. If this was true, it called for harsh punishment. But wiping them out on the spot. That decision belonged to the guild. The Eiklos Familia, no, let's be precise. Every living descendant of the Deadless bloodline is suspected of assisting the Evolus in a plot to convert adventurers into dungeon monsters. That revelation stunned everyone. Even Finn couldn't hide his shock. He had survived Aurario's dark age, and knew what the Evolus were capable of. But the rest of the Loki familia had never heard of anything so extreme. You can't just spout baseless accusations. One of them shouted. This was the highest form of treason against humanity. Finn knew that if this turned out to be true, it wasn't just about smuggling. Oh, but it's real, August continued smoothly. I was wondering, during my fights, the dungeon effortlessly summoned thousands of monsters to swarm me. Current adventurers, even with massive support teams, can only reliably clear the upper and middle floors. But what about the deep floors? With so many monsters down there, why haven't they broken through to the surface? Then I discovered something horrifying. During the Dark Age, Aurelia was torn apart by faction wars. But even with all that chaos, no monsters from the deep floors ever made it to the surface. They could have destroyed the city instantly, but they never did. After seeing what the Deadless family built down here, it all clicked. August tapped his fingers together. There is something else in the deep floors. Ignoring gods and surface dwellers, it represents an entirely different form of life. To put it in divine terms, an anomaly. A special life form lurking in the abyss. The Eveless gods, stuck on the surface, used the Deadless legacy to make contact with this anomaly. And from there their artificial monster conversion project was born. August explained the conspiracy clearly, almost as if he was following a script. As he spoke, he looked around at the members of the Loki familia. Impossible. We run deep strata expeditions constantly. We would have noticed something like that, Tioni Hiriut argued firmly. The Loki familia was always prepping for expeditions. They executed guild-mandated deep dives to call ancient monsters and prevent them from reaching the surface. Every top familia participated. If August was right, a horde of that magnitude would have swarmed the surface years ago. Furthermore, the legendary Zeus and Hera familias had dominated the prior era. They ran expeditions too. How could they have missed it? Saying this started back in the Dark Ages sounded unbelievable. He might be telling the truth, Finn muttered, biting his thumb. His mind raced, running the calculations. The Loki familia couldn't replicate the expeditions of the Zeus and Hera familias. Those two legendary factions had fallen, and while Loki had taken their place, it was only because the absolute strongest had been wiped out. When Finn saw the numbers August mentioned, he realized their current expeditions were nothing compared to what level 8 adventurers used to handle. If a specific area in the abyss was mass-producing monsters, the math added up. This was serious trouble. Finn knew this was no longer a simple guild punishment. This was declaring war on all life on the surface. Anyone tied to the Eveless was an enemy of humanity. Finn glanced at August. Then another realization hit him. This kid was definitely using this as a reason to wipe out Dix Perdix and his whole bloodline, just because they had gone against him. He found a loophole, and was going to use it to destroy them. But what could Finn do? If the evidence were real, wiping out their entire bloodline might be the kindest option. Care to explain yourself? Finn asked. He realized the bald thug needed a moment to defend himself. If he remained silent, he was as good as dead. Gran's eyes were full of fear. He had lost his boss, but he knew what his familia had really been up to, and it wasn't what they were being accused of. I didn't. We didn't do that. Gran screamed. If he admitted to collaborating with the Eveless to convert humans into monsters, the residents of Deadless Street would burn him at the stake before the guild even got involved. The Eiklos familia only captures the talking monsters. We smuggle them to the surface and sell them to foreign nobles for entertainment. That's it. We never made artificial monsters. Nobody in the Eiklos familia did. Not even Dix. Gran howled desperately. His survival instinct took over. He admitted to his real crimes, just to avoid a death sentence. Smuggling monsters was serious, but it wasn't treason against humanity. Talking monsters. Finn froze. This was the first time he had ever heard of such a thing. They don't just talk, they scream when we hurt them, and they beg for mercy. We catch them and sell them to the nobles. They use them for their twisted games. That's all we do. Gran blurted out, panicking. We didn't make artificial monsters. You can't pin that on us. Gran roared at August. Don't pin your bullshit conspiracy on us. We didn't do it. After hearing this, Finn knew the Eiklos Familia was done for. Smuggling intelligent monsters and hurting civilians meant they were facing long prison sentences. August didn't seem upset by Gran's denial. Instead, he smiled. I never said the Eiklos Familia did it. I said it was the descendants of the Deadless family, not the Eiklos Familia. August grinned. Impossible. Dix wouldn't. Gran tried to call for his boss, Dix Perdix, to defend himself. Then, it hit him. Gran looked at the broken pieces of the cursed spear on the ground. That was where Dix had stood. Dix was dead. At that moment Finn, Riveria, Gareth, and even the loyal thug Gran realized what August had done. This guy has zero shame. He killed the man so he couldn't testify, then blamed the worst crime on him so he couldn't clear his name. He has zero moral compass. Just to ruin his enemy, he called the dead man's whole family enemies of humanity. The level of spite was shocking. He really holds a grudge, Tiona Hiriot said bluntly. His ability to hold a grudge was on a whole different level. But you gotta admit, he's a good guy, Tiona added, flashing a thumbs up. Tiona, what the hell are you talking about? Tioni stared at her sister in disbelief. Could she really not see what was going on? Sister, think about it. He's a great captain. He had 2 rookies with no combat experience, and a supporter who couldn't fight. When his familia was threatened, he wiped out the enemy so they could never hurt his people again. Who else in Oraria would do that? What other captain would risk their own reputation and take on all this trouble just to protect a supporter and a couple of rookies? Tiona saw her sister was speechless and turned to Finn, who was also quiet. Captain Finn, I didn't mean you. Finn bit his thumb. Putting himself in August's place, could he go to such ruthless extremes to protect a weak supporter and 2 rookies? She's right. I couldn't have done it, Finn admitted openly. He couldn't. As a hero, he was bound by morals and what others thought. August was doing what none of them could, acting out of the need to protect his own. Tiona was right. In a strange way, August was doing something no other familia captain in Orario could bring themselves to do. So, captain of the Hestia Familia, Finn turned back to August. What's your call? Finn wondered whether August would finish the job himself, or hand the survivor over to the gods for judgment. Honestly, Finn wanted no part of this mess anymore. If people did not call him the braver, he would have simply walked away. This job was utterly thankless. He's yours. August didn't wait. He handed Gran over to Finn. We're leaving. August turned away and pulled back his chains. As they walked away, Lilaruka Arde remembered something, and ran back to the terrified bald thug. I'll take that. Lily knew he had the key. She took Gran's valuables, grabbed the Deadless Orb, and hurried back to August. Gran watched his only hope get taken and slumped in defeat. He knew he'd be handed over to the Loki Familia, but honestly, he felt relieved. He had survived. You're not going to stop them? Gareth asked as August's team disappeared down the corridor. Things had gotten out of hand. Bodies were everywhere, and the floor was slick with blood from stray bullets. It was a massacre. Can't, Finn replied. Don't forget our deployment orders. We were sent to prevent a monster outbreak. Investigating smuggling is the Guild and the Ganesha Familia's job. They had finished their mission. The threat of a major outbreak was stopped, mostly because August had taken out those behind it. Pack it up, Finn ordered. Gareth signaled the younger members to move in and secure the prisoner. They were handing him over to the Ganesha Familia for interrogation. Meanwhile, August's group moved quickly, heading deeper into the Gnosis. As expected of Lord August, Lily said, her eyes shining with excitement. His plan was excellent and executed flawlessly. Letting the Loki Familia deal with the fallout. Now we can leave without trouble. No matter what happens, we won't get in trouble. That's Lord August for you. Lily was thrilled. To her, August sparing Gran wasn't an act of mercy. It was just a smart move to avoid trouble. Killing him now wouldn't change anything, August said, pausing on the stairs as he realized Lily thought he was playing some big strategy game. In truth, he just didn't care. That guy is broken. Killing him serves no purpose. The mastermind is already dead. But you know, August mused. Even facing overwhelming odds, that bald guy still drew his sword for his boss. He didn't break. I respect that. Putting their feud aside, August actually liked the thug's grit. Facing a much stronger enemy from another world and being willing to die for his boss, that kind of loyalty was something August respected. But you didn't show him any mercy either, Lily pointed out, knowing exactly how August operated. He didn't hate the guy. But when it was time to fight, August didn't hold back. He fought him fairly, showing no pity just because the man was brave. Lord August, this is the right call, Lily agreed. Let the Loki Familia deal with the paperwork. We have no reason to waste time arguing with them. We still have a job to do. Lily fully agreed with using the surviving thug to deal with the bureaucracy. It let them focus on the remaining Xenos without the guild getting in the way. Let's go, August signaled. We still have to deal with the Xenos. Bulk upload of 6 chapters, if we hit 1100 Power Stones this week. Every 200 Power Stones equals bonus chapter. 20 advanced chapters available on Patreon, https://p-atreon.com/dragons. Just remove the hyphen to access Patreon normally. Chapter 120, Intel on the Xenos. 1910 words. Thank you all so much for your incredible support this week. They made their way back through the corridor and returned to the original room. When they stepped inside, they found the group of Xenos huddled together on the floor, fast asleep. The sight made Lilaruka Arde's usual excitement fade, leaving her feeling much more serious. The monsters sensed August and Lily's return and began to stir. They woke up tense, but as soon as they recognized the pair, their hostility faded, and they just looked confused. It was clear they didn't know what to do next. Human, the siren acting as their representative, spoke up. She glanced at her companions before standing up and hesitantly stepping forward. Hello, August greeted politely, bending slightly to meet her eyes since she was about his height. The siren seemed unsure how to respond to the formal greeting. She fidgeted, looking completely lost. Noticing her panic, August smoothly changed the subject. Looks like you've recovered some stamina. While he was away, they must have been resting to regain their strength. So what do you want to do next? I can take you to a certain floor to find your kin, or you can stay here. Hardly anyone knows you exist, just a few humans and gods, besides the smugglers. August explained their choices, making it clear just how awkward their situation was. Is that really okay? A humanoid monster asked hesitantly. We don't know where to go. The monsters felt lost. Being rescued was one thing, but figuring out how to live was something else. The idea of finding kin, or a community, was new to them. Now that they were aware, they also felt a heavy sense of uncertainty. Lily scratched her head. Compared to the experienced Xenos led by Fells, this group seemed as helpless as newborns. She decided to step up. I really think you shouldn't stay in the Gnosis, Lily said. This place is a stronghold for the Evolus, the same people who captured you. It's also home to corrupted spirits. They're terrible creatures that hunt monsters like you and eat your magic stones to make themselves stronger. Lily explained just how dangerous Knossos really was. If you stay here, you won't survive. If I were you, I'd go find the other Xenos. There's a small group, maybe 40 of them, and they can talk and travel with you. She looked at the siren. There's a harpy and a siren among them. They're monsters from your floor. Hearing about the harpy, the siren froze. A harpy. 40 of them, August confirmed. That decided it. The siren now knew where they had to go. They needed to find the main Xenos group. Let's get going, Lily said, stepping in front to lead. She didn't mind guiding them, since helping Xenos was nothing like dealing with mindless monsters. We'll follow you from a distance and make sure you get down to the 20th floor safely, August explained. Since the dungeon targeted him aggressively, walking right next to the Xenos would only make them bigger targets. The Xenos panicked. You're not coming with us, a tiny monster squeaked. We can't, Lily said deadpan. Here, look at this. She took out a device that looked like a smartphone, and played a video of August's recent battles. The screen showed a huge wave of monsters, thousands of them charging at August, trying to tear him apart. The Xenos stared at the screen, stunned. They instantly understood why August kept his distance. With how tired they were, getting caught in a crowd like that would mean certain death. By the way, since you're all Xenos, do you sense anything strange about Lord August? Maybe something that feels familiar. Lily said. She decided to test a theory. The Xenos all stared at August, sniffing and watching him closely. Most of them shook their heads. They didn't notice anything unusual. But the tiny monster slowly raised its hand. He has that on him. While the siren and the others didn't notice anything, the tiny creature sensed something specific. Scent, he has something strange on his back, it squeaked, pointing a trembling finger at August's back. August blinked, twisting to look over his shoulder. Did it happen back then, he wondered. He had always been puzzled by how the dungeon seemed to know the moment he entered. When did you gain consciousness? August crouched down, asking the tiny monster when it was born. The tiny monster just tilted its head, confused. It had no concept of time. A zebra-striped, wolf-like Xenos padded forward and began scratching tally marks into the dirt with its claws. 6 days, Lily translated. Right around the time Lord August received his fauna. After thinking it through, Lily realized that except for the tiny monster, the rest of the group had been around much longer. Lily looked at the tiny monster. Do you hate Lord August? The tiny creature shook its head vigorously. He's a good person. He smells nice. It's like how my mindless can treat me. I can feel it. That scent on him, it drives the normal monsters insane. As the tiny monster spoke, the other Xenos nodded, sharing a serious understanding. Besides being hunted by the Ichlos familia, their only other memories were of being chased and killed by their own mindless kind. Regular monsters didn't need a reason. Just a look or a scent would set them off, attacking with wild rage and forcing the Xenos to run for their lives. A scent, huh? So there really was a glitch during the fauna contract, August thought. He wondered how something strange had gotten into his status. His abilities came only from Hestia's blessing. Maybe it was a side effect of the dungeon reacting to his portal. August decided to drop it. Overthinking wouldn't solve anything. He checked his watch. It was almost dusk on the surface. Let's go. It'll be dark outside soon, and the 18th floor will switch tonight. We can use the darkness to sneak into the 20th floor and find your people. Right, the Xenos agreed. After eating and using potions, they had enough power to confront the dungeon again. August and Lily led the group, keeping out of sight as they headed down to the 20th floor. Before leaving the Knossos, August quietly set up some emergency beacons, and a few special surprises of his own in the halls. With that finished, they moved on, heading deeper inside. Meanwhile, up on the surface, dusk had settled over Rio. Is August not back yet? After finishing the handover about the Ichlos Familia, Hestia went back to her compound to wait for him. She paced nervously and ended up by the front gate. They have their own missions to handle, Lady Hestia, one of the Artemis Familia members said calmly. Since this situation touched on Orario's darkest secrets, the Artemis and Takamikazuchi Familias took an official guild job to act as Hestia's bodyguards. Until August came back, their job was to protect her in case the Evolus tried something desperate. Especially with the Apollo Familia sniffing around, someone noted. Don't worry, Takamikazuchi said confidently. August knows how to manage priorities. He'll be fine. But I never thought it would go this far, Artemis said, frowning and clenching her fists. Artificial monsters. I swear, I want to punch whoever did this. If this was true, it wasn't just illegal smuggling. It was an act of war against all of humanity. I don't know who all the players are, Hestia muttered, crossing her arms, but there's one guy you've all met. She wasn't going to hide it. They were all friends here. I know him. Since when? Artemis blinked in surprise. Rithus's eyes widened as the pieces clicked together. The Dionysus Familia. It was the only answer that made sense. Think about it. Lord August was calm with the other gods, but as soon as he saw Lord Dionysus, he stepped in front of Lady Hestia to protect her. I thought it was just an adventurer's instinct back then. Captain, you can't just throw accusations like that, an Amazonian member warned. That elf is the Banshee, she. But as she spoke, she realized it too. The Banshee had the perfect cover for a plan like this. One wasn't enough. He used his own Familia children as sacrifices to manufacture more artificial monsters. Artemis was horrified. She knew the dark history of the Dionysus Familia. They had sent out several deep strata expeditions, and every time, the whole party was wiped out except for one elf, the Banshee. If the first wipeout was a test, then the rest were just mass murder. Artemis felt a chill as the mystery came together, dark and disturbing. We have to report this to the guild immediately, she demanded. It won't work, Takamikazuchi said, leaning back and crossing his arms. He narrowed his eyes, thinking. In Orario, whenever a Familia member goes missing or dies, their patron god has to file a detailed report. Missing is one thing, but if they die, the god is legally required to undergo a strict interrogation by Ganesha. It's a failsafe to prevent gods from sacrificing their own children. Dionysus lost dozens of members. There's no way he wasn't interrogated. So he beat Ganesha's lie detection. If he got past Ganesha's checks, he must have a perfect way to cover it up. Takamikazuchi pointed out the hard truth. They had no real evidence tying Dionysus to the artificial monsters. Good catch, Take. That's exactly why I didn't want to get tangled up with that ambitious creep, Hestia praised him. But now he's a direct threat to August. We can't just take him down the usual way, Hestia said, her face growing serious. He has Demeter. What do you mean? He's holding Demeter hostage. Artemis and Takamikazuchi were stunned. Not having evidence was one thing, but holding a goddess hostage changed everything. Demeter was the heart of Orario's food supply. If her resources were cut off, the whole city would starve. You don't mess with the farmer. Dionysus is holding her Familia members captive, Hestia said, her voice grim as she leaned on the table. To keep her children safe, Demeter had to give in and supply him with top resources. She's only doing it to protect her kids. That makes everything harder, Takamikazuchi sighed, finally seeing why Demeter had seemed so restricted. Artemis and Takamikazuchi were furious. Artemis, always fighting for justice, wanted nothing more than to draw her bow and stop him. Let it go for now. There are too many things happening. We can't fix this in one night, Hestia sighed, waving it away. She was about to say more when a beep cut her off. August's emergency communicator was ringing. Hestia pulled out the sleek device. But as she read the message, her eyes went wide. Shock spread across her face, and her hands started to shake. "No way, how is this even possible?" she whispered, her voice cracking. Her sudden, violent reaction instantly alarmed Artemis and Takamikazuchi. "What happened?" they asked, bracing themselves. "Bulk upload of 6 chapters, if we hit 1100 Power Stones this week. Every 200 Power Stones equals bonus chapter. 20 advanced chapters available on Patreon, https://p-atreon.com/dragons, just remove the hyphen to access Patreon normally. Chapter 121, Chapter 121, Bonus, 2078 words. Thank you all so much for your incredible support this week." After passing the 18th floor and navigating the twisting tunnels, they finally noticed how vast the 19th floor was. They ended up in a massive underground forest. It was probably smaller than Rio or even the 18th floor, but the thick, packed trees made it feel like a huge, suffocating wilderness. These bastards just keep coming. As soon as August and Lily stepped into the trees, they saw how serious things had gotten. Everything before this was just getting them ready for what was next. This was a manhunt. The moment the monsters spotted August, they charged at him in a wild, furious attack, only wanting to tear him to shreds. They ignored the other adventurers and went straight for him, like sharks smelling blood. "Bring it on, then. Let's see what you've got." August watched the monsters coming at him. The attack wasn't just from the ground. The forest was packed with insect monsters, lizardmen, and fierce flying predators circling overhead. Now, enemies came from all sides, not just the cave floor. Just by being there, August seemed to make everything even more violent. "Damn it," Lily cursed, her face turning pale. "This is nothing like the upper floors. Forest warfare, we don't have the experience for this." They were skilled and prepared, and Lily was a stronger supporter now. They wouldn't fall easily. But there were just too many enemies. On the upper floors, monster groups needed a leader to organize them. Here, the dungeon sent monsters from the trees and bushes in every direction, all aiming to kill August. "We've always fought in caves," Lily said quickly. "This new place should throw us off, but our experience should still help." "So why isn't it working?" She realized the answer almost immediately. This isn't a few thousand monsters anymore. There are tens of thousands of them rushing us. August remembered what the little Xenos creature had told him. Whatever strange effect he gave off made dungeon monsters go wild. Starting from the 19th floor, there were even more monsters than the army he fought while chasing Antares. "Fall back." When the Xenos saw August getting surrounded, they rushed to help him. The whole 19th floor exploded into chaos. Monsters came out of the woods, and when they saw the Xenos, they attacked them too. It didn't matter if they were the same kind. The monsters attacked everything they saw. The battlefield descended into total chaos. August had planned to lead the Xenos to the 20th floor and find their friends. That plan was finished. They hadn't even made it halfway before getting caught in a deadly fight. The towering trees were his biggest problem. He couldn't use big fire weapons or explosives like he wanted. Even when he tried heavy artillery, the huge tree trunks blocked his shots. The wood soaked up the blasts, threw off his aim and let the monsters get closer. For the first time since entering the dungeon, August hit a wall. Heavy weapons worked well in open spaces, but the forest was too cramped. His first attack barely did any damage, and just brought even more monsters closer. The Xenos saw right away that they couldn't hold their ground. "We have to move," the siren shouted, knowing that staying meant death. The horde was closing in, and the only way out was back to the 18th floor. "Torch the tree line. Cover our retreat," August barked. "Grab the smaller ones and run. Anyone who falls behind dies here." The fire-breathing Xenos shot flames into the bushes, creating a wall of fire to slow the monsters. At the same time, August tossed smoke grenades and tear gas into the trees, grabbed Lily, and ran. He led the Xenos into a desperate retreat. This was the first time August had to run for his life in the dungeon. Son of a bitch. This place is a nightmare. The dungeon was after him now. It hadn't just made things harder, it had sent 10 times more enemies. August was furious. In an open field, he could have beaten thousands of monsters. Even in a jungle, he could have handled a few thousand if he had room. But these monsters used the forest to their advantage. They hid in blind spots, attacked from the trees, and let the trunks block his attacks. As long as they were alive, they kept coming. He had no room to breathe. The fight had turned into a non-stop, close-up struggle. To make things worse, there were way more types of monsters than he expected. He thought each floor had just a few kinds, but this forest had over a dozen, not even counting the lizard men with weapons on the next floor. These were level 2 monsters with specialized traits, and there were far too many of them. With no other choice, August swallowed his pride and ran. Looks like I wasted my ammo. They rushed back through the entrance and collapsed on the 18th floor, which was supposed to be a safe zone. But a safe zone only meant there were fewer monsters, not that it was completely safe. As soon as they crossed over, monsters hiding in the woods attacked them. You've got to be kidding me. I get pushed out of the 19th, and now you low-level grunts want a piece of me. August raised his guns. He shot at every monster that got close, taking out his frustration on the creatures around him until the area finally fell silent. Even after the smoke cleared, August's anger didn't go away. For the first time, he lost his usual calm. He was used to easily beating his enemies, but being forced back like this rattled him. Each monster that attacked just made him even angrier. They regrouped at the gate connecting the 18th and 19th floors. Lord August, what's our next move? Lily asked, wiping sweat from her brow. The expedition had reached a dead end. The 19th floor was much harder than they expected, and it seemed like there was no way forward. We head back. We're not getting past that floor anytime soon, August said. He'd been confident all day, but now he had to fall back. Losing like this stung. Let's move. He motioned to the battered Xenos, and led them toward the entrance to Knossos. We're just leaving. Lily clenched her fists. They'd been winning every fight, but now they were leaving in defeat. It felt like a big setback. We can't fight them right now. Without a level 3 combat power, we can't push through those numbers in that terrain. To use his modern weapons in the jungle, August needed real soldiers. He needed people to hold positions, spot targets, and help control the area. On his own, he couldn't cover every angle or handle a full ambush. We retreat. If we can't win, we don't fight. There wasn't any easy fix. Damn it, Lily muttered, stomping her foot. This sucks. It is what it is. August glanced back at the monstrous escorts. So what's the plan for you guys? Staying in the man-made labyrinth or coming back with us? The black and white striped wolf barked excitedly, its eyes shining. It wanted to go up to see real grass and run under the open sky. The other Xenos looked at each other, tired and unsure. Can we really go with you? The siren asked softly. She knew the surface adventurers and the dungeon monsters both hated them. She had never imagined August would offer them a way out. As long as you don't cause trouble, do whatever you want. August waved his hand like it was nothing. The Xenos were smart and useful for research, so he didn't mind bringing them along. Let's go, then. Thank you. The Xenos perked up right away. They'd dreamed of seeing the surface their whole lives, and now August was making it happen. Lord August, is this really a good idea? Lily asked, her anxiety spiking. She thought he'd hide them deep in the tunnels. Instead, he was leading a group of monsters straight to the surface. It was more than risky. Even Arenas and Fells kept the Xenos secret, but August was putting everything out in the open. Did he even care what people would say? What's the problem? August shrugged. If someone has an issue, it ends in one of two ways. A war game, or a massive familia clash. And nobody knows who would win that. We're one of the most dangerous familias in Rio. Even Loki thinks twice before crossing us. Who's going to stop me? August rolled his eyes in annoyance. Sometimes the strong get to do whatever they want. Leaving the Xenos in the tunnels wasn't an option. They were exhausted and barely hanging on. Any group of adventurers, leftover enemies, or new monsters could take them out easily. The Xenos made happy sounds. The day felt unreal. First, cruel humans had hurt them. Then, the dungeon had tried to kill them. Now, before they could even process it, the strongest human they knew was leading them to the surface. Lord August really is built different, Lily murmured, mixing with exhaustion. He's so right and wrong differently than anyone else in the city. They walked back up through the deadless tunnels, but everything changed the moment they stepped into the open streets. Pedestrians saw the group and their faces twisted in fear. Monsters! Screams filled the street as people rushed away in terror. The monsters' red eyes, animal shapes, and the aura they brought from the dungeon sent everyone into a panic. Nearby adventurers drew their weapons and moved to intercept. But they noticed the men walking at the front of the pack. Everyone froze. It was a strange sight. The captain of the Hestia Familia was leading dungeon monsters through the street. Even stranger, the monsters looked tired and beaten, as if they'd just lost a big fight. And August looked furious. The adventurers stood with their blades raised, not sure what to do next. What the fuck are you looking at? August had been angry since the 19th floor. The stares from the crowd pushed him over the edge. His shout made the whole street fall silent. Wait, what? We didn't even say anything and you're yelling at us. But his outburst worked. The frightened people and confused adventurers stayed put, unsure what to do. Lily's eyes widened. She'd thought August was joking before, but he wasn't. He was breaking every rule in Rio. She was too tired to speak. After running from thousands of monsters across several floors, she was completely drained. The Xenos stuck close to August, looking around with curiosity. They were nervous but didn't run. It was their first time seeing the surface and so many people, and only August's presence kept them calm. A sharp voice broke the silence. Hey, rookie. What the hell do you think you're doing? The commotion had drawn some of the city's strongest people. Leaders from both the Loki and Ganesha familias showed up, each with their squads. Weapons drawn, they fixed their eyes on August, Lily, and the monsters behind them. Earlier that day, August had embarrassed the Loki familia in an argument. But this was different. Bringing several middle-floor monsters into the city turned a personal issue into a major security problem. Bet Loga was the first to step forward. He had a grudge to settle. Gareth had made him go to study sessions to help with his reading, so he was already in a bad mood. Now, this new Hestia member was leading monsters through town. Did he really think the rules didn't matter? August didn't bother with a polite explanation. He didn't even try to calm things down. He looked openly hostile. He'd lost and it stung. After 2 weeks of winning every fight, one defeat had ruined everything. You got a death wish? August glared at Bet. Because if you do, I don't mind putting a bullet through your head right now. Bulk upload of 6 chapters, if we hit 1100 power stones this week. Every 200 power stones equals bonus chapter. 20 advanced chapters available on Patreon. https://p-atreon.com/dragons, just remove the hyphen to access Patreon normally. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Novels Wonderland.